guys, one of the craziest stories I saw this week. Well, not a crazy story per se. I think we all watched it. Puma are furious with Cucurella. You saw the incident.
Yeah, I know it's serious.
The man in the slip.
That's right. And you know the story
He
behind
slipped,
it.
he conceded 2 goals.
Twice.
If I change the boot. If I change the boot.
And now, apparently, that was supposed to be the launch of the Puma boot. They call them the Puma Future 8. One pair cost £220. So Cucurella, who is a Puma ambassador, was supposed to have launched them with that particular game. So that was the first time anybody...
No, but which he did.
Fair enough. But that's not the issue.
The issue
So, you know, as for the documented issues, we know them. He slipped twice.
Yes, twice.
Then he sprinted the full length of the pitch to go and change the jersey.
Change the boot.
To go and change the boot. After the match, he went to post on his Instagram story with the pair of the boot in the trash. And he captioned it, "Sorry, Blues."
I have not seen that one.
That's
but if you see, there wasn't the need.
He deleted it after.
You are an ambassador.
That they pay millions.
I'll just strip this.
No, but the thing now, Puma now.
Some way.
I want to look for somebody. Kukureya, you go to the Kukureya. What are you talking about?
It was almost like a marketing disaster. Like you couldn't have calculated or preempted or even. How do you slip twice?
But I still think it's a good boot. It's a perfect boot.
Have you used it before?
No, I don't need to use it.
So how do you say it's a good boot?
Puma,
The person who was using it is sleeping.
Maybe Cucurella himself. Cuckoo way he balanced. No,
but what I know about boots is when they release them.
Is that fresh?
Yes, the stats and the stats.
This one they actually made major changes to the shape of the starts. I think that might have.
Maybe that might
stats.
contribute.
So wait, they released one version with just one stats across because somebody might wear a Predator. The Predator has different stats, like and different for different pitches, different surfaces, different weather conditions and stuff. So you are saying that this Puma.
This was the initial one. I don't even think they had produced them in
I say Cuckoo, you know,
I think Cuckoo chose the wrong stats for the wrong stats for the game. I think so.
That's a good point.
No, I think so.
Apparently,
no, I think that's the only that can only be
apparently in the same match. Another player wore that pair.
Yeah,
you know who?
And he didn't go through that.
Madison, but he came off the bench.
And when he came on,
No, but
he didn't slip.
You see, what we know is that around this time, the cleats are custom made for the weather.
exactly.
Yeah.
The kind that you see them use around August, September, it's not the same that they wear when you're getting into the winter season, especially the snow. I mean, when it gets really wet.
So
They
you
are
have
not
to
the
be
same.
smart to
you have to
know
be
when
smart
you
to know
have to
which.
know.
Yeah,
So
And at
that's
this-
why I said you
at
are
this
looking
level-
for ambassador. Kukureya.
because I don't believe
At
that
this
they made
level,
the
they know
cleats.
it too.
They
are
made the
used to
cleats
it.
and they made the cleats for only one condition. You know,
It was pretty bad. It was pretty. Puma are fuming. They've now had to recall the boot and try to see what they can do because Charlie, the marketing, it has taken.
Sanjunu, what
Kuku did not do a good job.
Sanjunu,
it's a Nike.
I'm talking about boot. I can never forget what Zidane did with that Puma boot in Kumasi. I was right there.
Mohamed Zidane.
When he scored against Cameroon.
Cameroon.
4-2.
Yeah.
I was there live.
When it says that, it's a Kumasi. I'm like,
Yeah, I say, no, when he says Zidane, he said Puma. I was like,
this
he
is
said Kumasi.
Kumasi. And I'm like, then Mohamed.
Only true football fans with true football knowledge will immediately.
No.
If you are talking about
Every
boot,
serious
I
football
should
fan
say
knows
Zidane.
Zidane.
The name
Zidane, think about Mohamed Zidane.
If I say Zidane and Kumasi,
No.
Zidane
He said
immediately.
Zidane and Puma. That's what he said.
Everybody knows Zidane is predicted.
So you mentioned Zidane, nobody go think about anything else. Zizou.
Sure.
Means that you only clicked after you mentioned Kuma.
Kumasi.
But I said this guy 2006, that boy is that. This guy. All his memory.
All right.
Visual
listen.
memory after 2006.
Okay, listen. Let's talk briefly about Champions League, okay?
Sure, definitely.
Coach. Charlie, it's like, what's going on with Pep Guardiola?
The man is being stubborn.
Seven defeats in the last 10 alone. They've conceded 20 goals since the start of November. No team, not even the ones fighting relegation, in the top 5 leagues in Europe, has conceded as many. in that period.
Yeah, it's an act of stubbornness. Because look, I think about 2-3 weeks ago we
The
came
last
here.
3 games alone, 9 goals conceded in the Champions League. What is this?
I think we came here and we did
4-3-2.
a proper in-depth
We did.
analysis on what he should be doing.
Where do we go from now? Is the problem. Charlie, because
see-
the
Right now, it has gotten worse. Because
I don't know. Was it Sucho last week?
No,
No, we tried to discuss their win, and he said they didn't play well at all.
Oh, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, yeah,
Against
yeah.
Nottingham, what's the
No,
No,
they
they're
were
pretty
not
good.
good.
Yeah.
I thought that Crystal
Yeah,
Palace will not be able to beat
they were
Crystal
not good.
Palace.
They were not good against Nottingham Forest.
Oh.
Yeah. And you said that you're not sure
No,
you
yeah.
will beat Palace.
so
They
you
were not
see,
good against Nottingham.
they are battling so many issues at the same time. I listened to Gundogan after the Champions League, and I think that's why I like the Germans.
He is
When they
unusually brutally honest.
brutally honest.
Over honest.
I swear,
Look,
Barca
and-
didn't like that.
Nonsense pass.
Almost everything he said sums up what the problems are. He made mention of lack of confidence, they knowing what they need to do, not being able to do it, the easy transition that teams are having through them, the fact that they are overly dwelling and keeping the ball as individual unnecessarily. When the pass is there to be made, that extra touch is not Man City like. And one thing that I was hoping he would add, which of course he was very smart not to add, was the fact that
The manager.
Pep is a problem.
no, some of the players,
Ah,
their
Their
legs
legs
are
are
gone. He himself,
This part.
the moment if he had said that, then he should have referred to himself first. So that was the smartness in his analysis. That was the only thing that I think he was a bit.
He deleted that part.
He was a bit dishonest with. But everything he said was, and I think, look, Pep will have to be, he has to take responsibility. Look, they won the league last season. They had a very bad transfer window. They brought in only 2 players, an aging Gundogan, somebody who felt that just a season before, he needed to leave the most intense.
Savinho then Gundogan.
Yeah, just 2. He needed
yeah, he
to
only
leave.
spent 1 season apart.
He needed to leave the intensity of the English Premier League and go where the pace is a bit slower. He can. 1 season after, he's back. And he's been asked to play in an unfamiliar role. So for me, 2-3 weeks ago, we sat here and I said that this man, I have seen him being very pragmatic. So I thought, as the best manager in the game in recent times, I thought he would look at what is at his disposal, what the players are capable of doing currently, and formulate a system that will ensure they put an end to a defeat, rounds of defeat, and then bring back the belief, and then try and work on their fear factor. Nobody fears them again.
No,
Nobody.
no respect.
No respect was. And the moment a team is that successful, look, they were that successful. They've been that successful. All of a
They
sudden,
don't know this. Oh, they don't know this.
that's what I'm
stage, oh.
saying. All of a sudden, nobody fears you again. And once that fear factor is gone, people look at it. Car Walker. When Car Walker. There are now spaces in behind. You saw the goal against Juve. He couldn't run back.
Ele ball, child. Ele no
He
go.
couldn't run.
Can't run.
Now you look at Pep Guardiola. Pep, what should you be doing to change it? That what is the word, crowd?
Over reliance.
Over reliance on dominating the ball
It's a fixation.
is at times a fixation. Look, I've always said this. We've had so many programs where I've said, when a team is not in possession of the ball, it doesn't mean they are not in control of the
Of
game.
course.
And you
Of course.
don't need to dominate the ball to be in control of the game.
You say that often.
Yes, you don't need that.
Yes.
You can let go of the ball, but you are actually you determine what happens, not the one in possession of the ball. I believe in that. And this Man City team have gotten to the stage where they need to find
Balance.
an a balance or something like an interlude between when to dominate, when to let go, and because they are conceding too many goals.
Too many.
Somebody will say that if you don't want, the best way of defending is to possess the ball. But the quickest way of conceding is to possess the ball and then giving it away cheaply. Because a team that is not in a team in possession, is the most vulnerable defensively. Because once you start taking charge, players will have to vacate and create options. Open up and get you to
so there'll be spaces.
The moment, and especially when those players, Rodri, Kovacic, those guys who are accustomed to winning the ball back quickly, early, to make sure you are not exposed, are no longer there. That is another genuine reason why the manager will have to go pragmatic. You are depending on Gunda, Rico Lewis, Kevin. You watch them against Juve. It was so pathetic. That second goal.
Hey,
when they lost the ball,
Locatelli play ball like Pello. Locatelli play ball like Pello.
Everyone was a passenger.
Kevin De Bruyne will not win the ball. Gundogan hardly does that. Rico Lewis is not physically strong to engage himself in the Rodri-like battle. No. Yeah. So playing through them has become so easy. And look, we all know that defensively, Diaz, Ake, and those guys can easily be exposed. They've not been exposed over the years because of how dominant Man City have been. And they've also made sure that tactical foul. Now they are not doing it again.
No.
The tactical foul that Mourinho and co complain about, that Fernandinho and Rodri were very good at. Now they lack the energy, the intensity to do that. So it is on Pep. I'm not going to say the players shouldn't take charge as well. Because if you listen to Gundogan yesterday, he virtually said, when the pass is there, let's go of it. When it is a one-time pass it. When you need to hold it on a bit, and then let's be a bit more forward-thinking, especially defensive. When they lose the ball, they virtually walk. They walk. And for me, look, there's every tendency or possibility that they may not qualify for the next. Because as we speak, they are 22nd.
They play PSG next, and they wrap up with
I think if they lose against PSG,
they play against PSG, and then after that, there's a game I think they can manage. But
there's two.
That's next year.
We are left with only two more games.
Yes.
We are left with only two more games.
So we'll finish the group stages
this year.
Yeah, they play 2 games. They have
No,
to
finish the group stages
next year.
Yes.
Okay.
The
What
point
I'm saying
is
is the last round
of game is next year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've forgotten the team, but it shouldn't be a difficult.
So the point is that if they're to lose against PSG,
Club Brugge.
they may not. I don't think they have any chance of going to the automatic 8
If
teams.
they win their next 2 games and other games,
No, but
depending
on,
but that's
so
a lot of.
they don't have their destiny
in their own hands.
So look, it is so bad. It is so unexpected. Players will have to look at themselves in the mirror, and then they'll have to look at the fact that look, maybe we are not as good as we were, and Pep Guardiola has a huge task to rebuild this team. Their transfer market, they were very poor in the transfer market, and he's not trusting most of the youth boys into the team. He still believes they are not ready yet. So if they cannot fix this as quickly as possible, for me, I don't think they will even. The best they can do this season in the Premier League, for example, is a 4th place finish. I don't see them going past Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Chelsea now, from the way they are playing, will match up to anything. For Man City to overtake this thing, they need to beat all of them again and hope that
they look like they're capable of.
That's what I'm saying. That they cannot put together a run. Somebody may say, "We'll come there. We'll look at maybe this coming Sunday's game is going to be a perfect platform." But no,
it won't.
It won't. They may end up beating United on Sunday,
but
it will come back. The reality of their current state, you see, it is how they are now. Currently, that is the state. And look, you may clap for Pep for all that he's done.
This
one of those person who cannot believe that one player gets injured and your team since then has been on the dip.
So there are 2 things I have on this City team. 2 things. The first thing has to do with this City group of players have played a lot of games in the last 5 years or what.
Yes, they have.
For
so
both club and country. So their legs are going. You know, Kevin De Bruyne doesn't
gone or going.
No, even for those who look younger with age, like their legs are. They've played a lot of games, right? Yeah. And some of them, their injury records
before you
are
go
not
on,
great.
who are the young players in the team? If they were all to assemble themselves, I think it's Guardiola.
Yeah, Vadio. Ruben Diaz is not. Ruben Diaz
No, no.
26
No,
years.
I think if probably Vadio, Foden.
Yeah. Erling Haaland, Rico Lewis, Jack Grealish.
Coach said if everybody's available, Rico doesn't play.
Yes, it is. Starting 11.
Yeah,
Rico
if-
Lewis, he's come to the City have not got a starting 11. You know, under Pep, he chops and
yeah,
change.
because I read it.
No, there are a lot of 30s.
About
John Stones is
11,
30s.
12 of them are
yes.
and those are
Edison
key
is
players.
there. The Otega is there. Walker is there. You know, they are going to and they play lots of games. And age is on their side, they are getting slower. And you need a lot of intensity to play the way Pep plays.
Yeah.
So there is that. And I think that has affected the way they are playing. But when Coach speaks about how bad their transfer market was, I said it the last time we were here that City in the market were terrible. But I think there's a reason for it. I think that because of the charges hanging around the club, City are struggling to convince players to come to the club. Many players are not sure what is going to happen to this club. So in the summer,
That's an interesting
City signed,
theory.
or in the last 2 seasons, in the summer, City signed only 2 players, right? And the second player, this Gundogan came back. He's already a City boy. He came back. And Salvinho came through the City football group.
Yes.
So they didn't sign him outside
of
that thing.
Yeah.
And when Julian Alvarez left, City, the club still we know would have tried to replace him. They struggled to replace the end product of Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez. And that is not because it is lost on City and the bosses. It's simply because I think that more recently, when City have gone into the market to find players, there are many, many players who are considering what their future would be if they are signing 3-4 years with a club whose future isn't certain. And I think that could be a reason why City have struggled,
That's an interesting theory.
in the market.
In that
because
period, was there like been a player that they have been linked to strongly?
So
and it
since
hasn't
the
happened?
charges came against them officially that they were going to, the City have not necessarily signed a player of note. I think the 2 players
Since
I think
Haaland,
is
right?
since Haaland. In fact, the charges came after Haaland. Now, since that, the 2 players I remember City have brought through will be Jeremy Doku and Matheus Nunes. Those 2.
Yes.
And Vadio. But I think Vadio also came right before, or no, and came after. But after
He came after the Champions League.
But after the hearing started, after we knew the date for the hearing, City have not been able to sign any player outside their group. It's been Gundogan, it's been Savinho who has come through, and we know that City's team look lean and thin. They need to strengthen. It will be interesting to see. I hope this theory is wrong, but I want to see what they do in January because they desperately
we are
need some-
interested in it.
Yes, I want to see what they do in
And
January
if they are going to have a chance, given the way they play, and Sisho and Chris have explained that, the only way they get out of this mess in terms of trying to fix it from the transfer market is a minimum of 2 midfielders, at least 2 defenders, and then someone in the forward areas. Because City, you expect that they are going to be in one domestic cup competition, the Premier League, at least domestic cup competition into the later stages.
1 minute.
The Premier League for a while, mileage of Vadio and then Kyle Walker. You cannot expect that the 2 of them are going to play in all of these games. And City's reserves, the youth teams, have not proven that they can have the players that will give Pep the confidence to
trust them.
We saw the kid who came in and some of the rash decisions that he made against Crystal Palace back then. I don't think even one midfielder, right, into this team is enough to give them the intensity and the robustness. Look, the easiest way out of this, or attempt, is for, and again, I'll circle back to something Capello said this week, which is that Pep he's stubborn. Because I, for the life of me, cannot understand why it is impossible for him to consider a scenario where they have got a healthy lead, or they are playing a game where all is not lost, but there is a storm coming. It is within reason to retreat for a 3-5 minutes period. Manage that phase of the game. And then if you want to, if you are minded to, you unleash your team, you set them up to move further up the pitch and then attack again. Time and again, City get into those scenarios. And I get it that the performances have not always been great, but when City are going to concede, you see it coming, right? You can tell the pattern of play and you can tell that the momentum of the game has shifted. Even when they are the team on top, there is that 2 or 3 moments before where if the opponent makes the right pass, if they wait, if they make the right run, you know that City are there for the taking. Though, and you see, if we sit back and watch these things and we spot it, surely Pep Guardiola sees it. Surely someone from his backroom staff or the technical bench, surely someone that sees these things and is able to communicate to him that, you know what, it may be nice for us to, or wise for us to, within this period, retreat and then defend. I don't know. Maybe against United on Sunday, they get what becomes a launch pad for them to change.
Yeah.
But see, friends,
Sure.
in all this thing, we need to understand that our analysis needs to be based on Pep's philosophy. When you say Pep should retreat, it is based on how you see defense. Pep defends by possessing the ball.
Yeah.
So when Manchester City are under a storm, usually what they do is now pass the ball and a lot of sideways passes, take the steam out of the game. That's how he defends, and that's another way of defending. Defending doesn't mean drop
Always
players
sitting
back because they don't know how to do that.
They've done it in a few games.
No, they don't know. Man City don't drop deep. They don't know how to do that. Pep doesn't know
we've
how
seen
to
it
coach
in
that.
some matches when
not
they
some.
had to, like in the Champions League.
High profile
He
He
games.
sit deep in the Champions
sit
League
deep.
final.
He's
No,
talking.
but
He's not
manage
talking about sitting
moments.
deep
No,
throughout
I
the
said
game.
manage moments.
He said, He said,
But then there are two things to the way Pep defends, and I agree with you that
yes.
in keeping the ball he defends, but it's also with the speed at which he wins it when he loses
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that in his
They are
team.
no
So,
longer able to execute.
so then
that.
again, you will never keep the ball for 90 minutes. So when you lose the ball, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is that's what he needs to solve. The counter pressing, the lack of intensity in the counter pressing. That's what he needs to solve. Not necessarily
How does he do it then?
going back
When we've said the players
Can
don't
I,
have the
can I
legs,
ask you a
and
question?
how does he fix it? But what he has, like, I mean, what
with what he
he
has.
has, yeah.
Can I ask a
To be
question?
frank,
And this
what
is-
he has is going to be.
Can I ask a
different.
question?
one.
And this is to all of us.
Answering that
Answering-
one. He's answering one.
I'm asking, like he has to fix
Yes,
the
he has
counter
to
press.
fix
Like,
it. What is happening is a consequence of the poor transfer window.
Yes.
Because look, if you are going to be that intense over the years, your players need to be at
Need
a
to
certain
keep
level of
profession.
fitness. Exactly. And he doesn't have that. Now he's lost like his first, second, third choice in certain positions, and now he's really lean. So it is always going to be an issue. But my point is, when it comes to assessing what is happening, we have to assess it based on his philosophy and based on how he sees certain things, how he attacks, how he defends, how he controls it. That's how Pep thinks. So with coach saying he should go back to the basics, it's a bit difficult.
What's the basis for
what's
Pep?
the basics for Pep? The
That's
basis
a
for
good
Pep
question.
is keeping the ball.
And winning back
Winning
within
it back.
6 success.
No,
So
I
you
think-
might see it as Pep being stubborn, but
Mhm.
that's what he knows how to do.
I have a
Right.
question.
Same
for all of
way-
us.
the basics for Pep could also be what he did when he won the Champions League, where there were games where he strictly played with a back four.
Mhm.
And there were games where he would think out with it and venture others into the middle of the park.
Yeah, you see,
what about
that's
keeping
tinkering.
defenders as defenders?
That's fine, but at the end of the day, the principles that govern whatever tactical instructions
Are the
he's
same.
given are the same. That's what
They
I'm
don't-
saying.
they
We are,
don't
we, are,
change.
we are judging the principles. It's, what is happening to Manchester City is not about tactics. It's not about him playing 3 back or 4 back. It's about the principles lacking the
And the capacity
to execute. Exactly. So the counter press is not working. They lack intensity. They are not keeping the ball as well. Even when they keep the ball, they are not making the right passes. Because another thing that is a lot of people think is just about players like Rodri, Partey, Jorginho, these guys. They
They said
instead
it
of
to
him
They said
passing
it
the
to
ball
us.
forward, they are calculated so much
The
so
pass
that
selection.
the pass selection, he passing it sideways with direct instruction. When I give it to you, give it back to me before I give it to this person. They are shifting teams, making it's all calculated.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody in the middle of the park who is just passing the ball, their possession numbers may look is maybe 70%, 70%, but the pass
Doesn't
selection is
influence
different.
the
It doesn't influence what is happening on the
I have a
pitch.
question
So,
for all of us.
look, it's
all of these coaches who play this style, right? When they've been in a fix, and we saw Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool a few times, is it common that they are able to, without recourse to the transfer market, manage to get the team to get to the levels where they can execute that counter press and where they have to sometimes rely on specific profiles like the Jorginho, Partey, Rodri kind? Is it common that they are able to fix this mid-season?
I think, but I mean, if you take Jurgen Klopp, for example, I think he definitely did it. He didn't get the team to win trophies towards the end of the season, but he arrested a certain slump to put them on a certain trajectory that
2021.
yes, the 2021
No,
season,
didn't.
and even for
that happened when the players came back.
Kimber.
but even for last season, right? Liverpool were not exactly brilliant. But there
At
were
the
two-
end,
Yes. and they had a lot of issues. That was during the period when he trusted kids and they were beating teams. Hold on, and they were beating teams like Chelsea. And that's why I got very
That's not consistent with this context because now Klopp had a pool of players to draw from because some became available. The City situation, when is Kovacic coming back? That's what I said.
Oh, you see, no, you're not getting me. I'm saying that for Jurgen Klopp. Look, I think was it you made a point about City not having enough talent in the academy to go back to. You made that point. And I don't think that, for example, when Jurgen Klopp did that last season, literally playing.
He won the Carabao Cup with the kids.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think before he got the injury crisis and introduced them, anybody sitting anywhere would have easily said, I think the Liverpool Academy has so much talent.
In fact, Liverpool season went into disarray when the big boys came back. When the kids were there, they were fine.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that at the point when he brought the kid, I don't think any of us looked at the Liverpool Academy and thought there's so much talent here. He doesn't have a problem.
But
trust
there are two different things we are talking about.
Yes.
With this Manchester City team, it's not just about players who are missing. Because they were losing games when Kovacic was playing.
Yes.
We are not going to add Kovacic.
But the point Achu is making is about being able to maintain a certain level of.
That's what I'm saying. That with the current squad he has, with their level of fitness intensity, it's going to be extremely difficult for him to demand certain things that he can't do without. So this thing will come. That's why, look, I told you this thing 8 weeks ago.
Yes.
I was so, because
yes.
all these things had been taken into consideration. You look at a City squad, the full squad. Nothing is going to change because Pep himself can't coach anything different from what he's doing. So as long as he's going to remain like this, the results are going to go like this. Unless in January he signs like some 5 players to come and change.
And that is for me, and that's a big disappointment in my opinion. Because why? Pep Guardiola built his reputation by trusting players that people otherwise didn't even know had the ability to play the way to play his kind of football. That's why he did at Barcelona. That's what
people didn't know, but he knew.
Yeah, no, yes, he knew. We didn't, but he knew.
Yeah,
and I'm saying that I'll be very disappointed. Actually, I'm very disappointed that even up until this point, for as long as he's been at Manchester City, you're telling me that in a crisis moment where we all agree that the squad that he has, even with those available, they have fitness issues. Chicho made the brilliant point about them playing so many games. Pep Guardiola cannot look to the academy and trust certain youngsters to be able to do a job
but he's
for him.
brought in a number of...
How many of
your
them
friend
are doing a decent job?
He's brought in and Pussy has come in. Pussy has come in. He wasn't Rico Lewis.
And when he plays coach,
No. That's a different thing. That's a different thing.
What he wants to answer the question.
You are saying
when you respond,
you are saying
Magati has played some games.
Simpson Pussy when he plays.
I will talk, please. I beg you.
No, but you see, friends, what that Dick at Pep doesn't take account of is that it's one thing having the talent to be able to play it. A big part of what people like Pep, Klopp do is that it requires a certain physical conditioning to be able to execute.
To be able to survive.
Being technically good is tactical, all of that.
Especially in the EPL.
Exactly. To be able to execute it, you need to be of a certain physical conditioning to do that. And not just for one game. That is the problem. But I'm sure if he looks through the academy, there might be 1 or 2 players who can come in and then maybe for a game or 2 can get a job done. But how long will it take to get that academy player?
I think
we need
to separate the issues.
The issue is, sorry, Danny, when it came to the issue of Jurgen Klopp and when he brought in the kids and they did well, yes, there were key senior players who were injured. But the rest of the senior players who were available were in form. Or were on form. So Virgil van Dijk was playing well and he was
galvanizing more or less.
McAllister was in the middle and Endo, man Endo. And he was... there was Salah, I think. There was Salah.
Salah was out for a while.
Salah was out Salah was out after the AFCON. He had his own problems and there was that. But there were some more senior players who were still available and were on form. So if that is the context, when you bring in a young chap, he can play through it.
And there's someone carrying the team.
We started as Alex Ferguson, where he will use Danny Warburg, even Federico Makeda, because the big boys, but this
Right.
City team,
It's different. That's
When
what
There's
Puse-
nobody there to carry
when
you.
Puse is playing alongside Akanji or Diaz, they
Yeah.
are struggling. They themselves
Yeah.
are struggling.
you see. That's
You
what I'm saying.
know.
We need to separate the issues.
There were 6
This
youngsters
City-
on the bench against Juventus.
Look, this City
6
issue.
youngsters from the
This City
academy.
issue is not about injuries. The system
Yeah.
is not working.
It is
Yes.
the manager who needs to
The
tweak.
sys-
He
Thank
needs
you.
to
The
tweak
system is
something.
not working. It's
fair
not
enough.
like Liverpool, where that the system was working, players were injured.
Injured, yeah.
It's two completely
Okay.
different things. So it's not
Exactly.
about.
So when you throw the young boys in a system
Those
that's not working,
struggle.
those-
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they are not
There's a-
talented
there's a-
because we've
there's a-
seen the
there's a-
same Rico Lewis last season,
brilliant.
and we are seeing him this season.
Yeah.
Everybody is struggling. It's
That's
not
a fair
about.
And even we all thought Doreen Doku was going to go to the next level, and he's been disappointed this season.
Yeah.
End product is not there. It's
No,
not
he's
playing.
been injured.
You know,
He's
in and
one
out
of
of
those
the
players
team,
who've
yeah.
been very
They
inconsistent.
brought in
Some way.
Simpson Puse.
Why is it that you like mentioning that boy's name?
It's a very
Okay. Let's go before I say something you say I shouldn't say.
no. It's a.
But you see, around this time, City would really be disappointed in 2 of the investments they made in the last 3-4 years. Is it?
Who?
Jack Grealish and Matthias Nunes.
After the
Grealish
news,
especially.
I really blame Pep Guardiola
It's
for that.
Pep's fault.
It's Pep's
The way
fault.
Pep is.
The way
I think
he's
the most
using-
disappointing
he's
transfer for them
very
would be Calvin Phillips. How they miscalculated.
Yeah.
That Calvin Phillips window should have been a player who could deputize
for
you know, Rodri.
and
and then
he
miscalculated
should
that,
be giving him opportunity
yes.
to play. But he
And
stuck to
because we know Manchester United won't do Rodri.
no.
Yeah.
Manchester United was going to do if like Ike Gundogan arrive late in the box, drop deep and help. But even that, in this crisis, instead of Pep to trust the boy in the middle of the park,
He's
you are
throwing him
playing him
outside.
where Grealish and Doku
Should be playing.
That is a tinkering thing we are saying, but
Yeah.
some way.
You know, I'm tempted to agree with Daniel about the fact that it's not. It doesn't seem like it's an issue of personnel. And fact on the other ball.
No, it's the manager.
Don't keep looking.
Yeah.
Because look,
it is the
even
manager.
the starting lineup against Juventus,
It's a solid line.
a very strong one.
Solid. I saw the line.
A very strong one.
Wow.
In names.
In names.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
currently
like on
on
paper,
form-
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
on
in names.
paper.
But on paper, it
No,
looked
no,
good to me because
But
in the
no,
middle
we
of
are
the
saying
park.
when you say on names,
Yeah.
I think the point we're trying to make is that ordinarily when City were on form,
Oh, these are
He
ballers.
has won with teams like this.
Exactly.
yes,
But
Well,
the problem
yeah,
is
Yes,
that
yes, because they had more. Yes, yes,
you
agreed.
see,
Yeah.
he can still get them to win, but he need to change the system. That is the
Which
point.
with that one to we all know Emfa.
But he
No,
can't
but
do it.
you see,
Pepinho.
Pepinho can't
no,
do it.
not that. You see, like I did say earlier on, he's overly
He's wedded to
obsessed
that style.
with control.
That is
Because
all he
that's
can
him.
coach.
That's all he can coach.
But but we've seen him go
Wait,
a bit
let me
pragmatic.
ask you.
At least there was a match
In all the
under
times
Jurgen
where-
Klopp where they play Liverpool at Anfield. I don't remember. I forgot
The
it.
Champions League match.
No, it was
No,
league.
it was a league
He
match.
ended,
You remember
goalless,
1-1
goal.
or goalless. The one that Mahrez
Blasted a penalty over
They
there.
were pragmatic.
They were pragmatic, but with possession.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, coach.
But
There's,
this time,
They were not.
there's no
You see,
pragmatism
they were
in the
not
approach.
pass. They were not giving risky final third pass.
Yeah.
It's like the Real Madrid game, the
Yeah.
first leg. They were still controlling the ball. As for the principle of control, it will be there. That's what we are saying.
he
It
said
will
their
be there.
reaction of the ball.
That's
So
what
he
he
can
can
slack
do. Why
it.
let's talk
can't
about
you
2 more
restrict-
Champions League.
Okay, go ahead.
DK. A few weeks ago, we came here. We were having. I'm sorry, Diego Simeone.
Oh, my coach.
we were
my
having
coach, my
conversations
coach.
about Diego Simeone.
My coach.
future.
You
Yeah,
say you are sorry.
Achu and I said he should be sacked.
You say you are sorry. You
But
know
we
this
didn't say he
serious.
should be sacked. What did we say?
You say you should be
Remind
sacked.
us.
You say you should be sacked.
No. So
We said
we can play back. In fact, you can use my phone.
Your mic is falling.
So I was saying that there was a
I will find
disconnect.
it. I'll find it.
We're saying that there was a
You say you should sack the
disconnect.
guy. You say you should sack the guy.
We're saying that for some time now they had.
In fact, see,
There
before
was-
you continue, I'm trying very hard. My mother went to watch the last episode. She said I shouldn't call Aju a liar again. But if you continue telling me that, but the guy, what is the guy?
See, your mom should be guy.
She said, make I not talk say Aju the lie. I said, but Aju is lying. Make I not talk say Aju the lie. She said, nah,
But-
people they want. Make I
No,
not
this
talk
one,
say
no,
Aju.
this one.
Let's take
This
it.
one.
It's an L.
We're just
Bottom
No,
line
no,
is,
wait.
bottom
So,
line is,
what we're
we
saying-
doubted Don Simeone.
which was
that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bottom
we
line,
doubted.
we and my word, has he gone on to prove us all wrong? 10-match winning streak in all competitions.
Scoring plays.
Diego scoring for fun. Alvarez has scored 5 in 5.
At the time the thing happened, they were third in the league.
Yes,
They were, I think, 6 points behind Barcelona.
but they had lost 2 in a row.
They had lost 2 in a row. Then the Champions League, they were still in the top 24. We had played like 3 or 2 matches in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Diego Simeone. So you don't be serious. Diego Simeone. See, how
Cholo.
many coach? I dare anybody. Pep safe. With this budget where
Simeone, they work with.
comparative
No, I
budget.
stand.
Simeone, what he's working with,
gone
what
on a
Barcelona
run.
Real Madrid are working with. All these years, Master, it's only Simeone who can keep Atletico this
At
competitive.
that level.
Now he has reached
No, I
there.
stand.
Then you are saying the suicide.
I
Sack him
stand.
and bring who?
But wait, is that amount of money?
Diego.
Is that amount of money Real Madrid are able to pay for a player that Simeone's Atletico Madrid can't pay?
It's not about paying, you see.
No, but
It be a cost. It's not about
maybe
paying.
once in a
Madrid
while
can do
they
it
pay.
every year.
Huh.
Madrid can do it every year.
Every
Atletico
year.
Madrid can do it every
Atletico
year.
once,
No, they
once a
can't.
while. They can't do it because they
They
can't
can't.
sustain.
Are you serious?
They can't sustain.
can't sustain.
Salary when they
Can't
can't
sustain it.
Charlie, big
Atletico Madrid
players-
are one of the highest paid teams in the world.
I
Not-
think
not even a joke.
Since they
And
bought,
every year-
I'm coming. Since they bought,
They buy a player for over 100
since they
million.
bought, since they bought this boy, the
Joao
Portuguese
Felix. You know how much they
Julian
bought Joao
Alvarez.
Felix for?
Since
No,
the-
Joao Felix.
No, Joao Felix.
Yeah.
Since they bought him, about 6 years ago,
And they signed.
it is now that they've bought a player in the
Alvarez.
range of 80 million, 90 million pounds.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
And that one said they recoup their money, low fee.
No, what I'm saying is, if Atletico Madrid, and look, the reason why Simeone is not going anywhere until he says I'm going is he has single-handedly
built
brought
this club.
financial stability to the club because
Yes.
he has consistently given them the Champions League money.
That's right.
He has consistently
Yes.
given them first, second, or third La Liga money.
That's right.
And he has made the club so popular that now the TV deals to their chop.
They
They are
They're
chopping
chopping.
some.
I think that Atletico Madrid are one of the most financially stable
Stable clubs.
clubs in the world. Like, forget Man United, forget
So
Liverpool.
They wouldn't want to abuse that.
No,
to-
but I
to do
think that they
sort
have
of
the
things
financial
that-
muscle, except that Simeone is careful with pitches.
that he has
They've
to.
also been lucky with buying in big.
I think that
See,
I think what
This-
may have stopped them from
he's
buying.
competing with Real Madrid,
That was
Barcelona.
before
Those
continue.
brands attract money.
money.
No, yes.
Simeone's Atletico Madrid, their money is result dependent.
Sporting money. Like, sporting results
If
money.
they don't make top 4, they are not going
They're
to
in
get
big
them. It's
trouble.
not like Man U, Real Madrid. If Real Madrid will never finish it.
Oh, but right now, their recent successes and the fact that they are not considered a big team that plays big games. But right now in Italy, in Spain, every Atletico Madrid game is considered a big game. They're the third force.
Oh, yes.
Like when you go in
And
Champions
that's
League,
because
people
of
are
the
looking-
consistency.
because of thank you.
But if they
But now
drop
they're
off
making-
2 years,
And right now, Metropolitano, they pay millions to name them, to name their stadium. Like
Yeah.
that won't happen before Simeone. It would never happen.
yeah, and my-
They wouldn't make money to build that stadium safe.
And
And
the
one of
issue
the
is,
things-
I
I
don't
agree
think,
with
I
you.
don't even think it's sustainable because if Simeone goes or if he stays safe and they finish outside the top 4 for 2 seasons, it's going to affect finances seriously. It's not the same thing that will happen to a Man U or a Bayern or a Real Madrid. Those teams, they can go, look at Liverpool. Liverpool, yes, they struggle financially, but not to the effect of or not to the tune of teams like Newcastle, who suffered. Look, the brand big and the brand attracts. Atletico, they've had to build. So all the money they are making is result dependent. Champions League quarter final, they'll take their money. League top 4, they'll take their money. They'll take their TV. If those
And they make good
results,
transfers too.
very good
Yeah,
transfers. If those results start dropping off, it's going to affect finances. So they have to keep him.
Yeah.
And he will
Yeah.
stay for 20.
Well, the
Nobody
last-
can
also,
sack
he's,
him.
he's the highest paid coach
Coach in the world, rightly
world.
so.
Look
And
at the
look,
last
for
few years,
for
the
players
kind of-
for players like Julian Alvarez to say, I'm quitting City.
I'm
I'm going to Atletico Madrid. For players like Joao Felix at the time he was leaving Benfica to say, I'll go to Atletico Madrid.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And
Yeah.
I saw that it was very well sought after. Even Real Madrid looked at him. There were a couple of teams.
Yeah.
He said, no, I'm going there. So I think that he's done a great job for them. But when you compete against Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's an almost impossible. But
I
even that
think-
he's managed to dig in deep.
His biggest problem has been with the brand of football. Most people say, if you look at how well he's done, can he tweak it a bit to make it a bit more entertaining? But I've always told people that, look, the man has got something that works for him.
Yeah.
If it is not broken, you don't attempt to
fix
work.
it.
Fix it.
Simeone,
So allow him.
he's alone.
And there were moments
Yeah,
and there were times where he tried moving away.
He shut down.
Then
Simeone will shut down coach open game.
I was-
Then he will lose.
Fire.
He will lose 3 games.
I see that.
If Simeone defend where the
They
put
go
it to
tell
say,
the boss, I don't
why
tell
not?
you.
Then Simeone go shut down open again. 3 games. They're going to lose. They're going to say, you see?
Yeah.
You see? Then right now, compact.
But he did that. Look, the
Last
consecutive losses. No, even this season, the consecutive losses. Which game followed that? The PSG game.
Yes, he was.
After he went to open up for those, the next game, PSG they didn't play shit.
Let's go.
But they got the result. And
Simeone
I
in
think-
your low pass.
I think the the importance of what he does and the fact that he can work on a skint budget and all of that is more important in the period when they've had to invest 300 million euros into a stadium. Arsenal fans will move heaven and earth to salute at Wenger
For doing that for them.
because he kept the club competitive. And for a team like this is not a Premier League club that has a ton of cash behind them in investment, and for them to keep all of this afloat, and this didn't affect his capacity to obtain the objectives that they had set for him. Each season, in the period that they were building the Metropolitano, and because of which they were not investing heavily into the team, still, I think in one of those seasons, they actually finished second. Right? They actually finished second, went far in the European competitions as well. So he deserves every credit for that.
And they have,
So it took you 11 games
No.
this season for you to finally realize that.
Why are you
the guy,
attacking the man?
No.
No, because I don't understand.
Say, why you
No,
like?
I didn't say that.
No.
I didn't say he should be sacked.
No.
No, I didn't say he should be sacked.
Shazam. Don't
Daniel,
mind this guy.
what I said was there was a disconnect between some of the
If
players who
that
were
strike
signing
right
for the
now,
man.
will die. You go figure
No.
it.
What I said was, but anyway, what I said was,
we didn't say
Anybody
it should be
sign
sacked.
players for him.
We
He's
raised
that powerful.
consent.
He
I
controls
said-
everything.
Hey,
I only said,
we raised consent.
Use Massa. You
we
said he
raised
should go.
consent.
Thank you.
You said
And-
he should go.
and
What
Tito,
you said was he
me,
has reached
what
his
I said
limit.
was that
He's still.
there appeared to
some
be
he should go.
no. What I said was there appeared to be a disconnect between the players the club was signing for him and the players that were fit for
That
the sort of
is where
football he was
I
going to
disagree
coach.
with you because he's so
You don't think
powerful.
he has-
Nobody signs players for him
You
there.
can't dump a play on Simeone. I
Nobody.
don't think so.
But you know the game against Slavan Bratislava, I was looking at the bench. Aspi on the bench. Koke on the bench. Thomas Lemar on the bench.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
it's
Lenormand. The French
Lenormand,
defender
yeah,
on
Rest
the
aside, that's
bench.
Finally fit.
yeah. He's not French.
Gallagher
He's
on the
Spanish
bench.
now.
Sorry. Oh.
Of course, by his French heritage,
okay.
like Laporte.
My mistake. That is a lot of quality on the bench.
Can't
So-
play players.
Yeah,
Can't play
exactly.
players.
And
Players that
Players only
you can
Simeone can use.
Yes.
he can easily work on
and
their
I
side.
think one thing I like about
No matter
Simeone
how
is that he
ordinary-
has long-serving soldiers.
Yes.
Yeah.
He can go, but he can't. Hey, let me give you the greatest one. He was also on the bench.
Okay.
Axel Witsel.
Hey, what's up?
Wow.
Axel Witsel. He's probably been there like 15 years. He went to China, right, and came back.
No, but Atletico Odisi, Vital is not exactly the name that comes to mind.
Yeah,
Because
he,
he went, no,
actually.
it's cooking.
Raul
It's not
Garcia.
cooking.
It's cooking. It's
Oh,
cooking.
well, that guy is gone.
No,
so-
I'm saying that in terms of the guys who were there,
Who,
Oh,
you
yeah.
think of-
The current
then
squad.
Where is Sao Ligues?
Oh, Sao.
Wait.
Sao is in Sevilla. He's gone to Sevilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Sevilla.
I think the former
Coach-
Uruguay captain.
yes.
Godin, Diego
No,
Godin.
Diego
Godin.
No, but
Augusto.
currently, two would be the names that quickly come.
I think Koke.
Jimenez and then Koke.
Okay.
Those two would be the longest
But
serving
Jimenez
soldiers.
is he's relatively young. I think he's 27, 28.
No,
No.
Jimenez should be 30.
Should be
Check
into
for
his
me.
He started
stage.
playing, started playing very
No.
young, but
Please
he's
check
been in
on
the
me.
game for a long
That's
time.
the
He's 30.
Uruguay
Jimenez
defender.
shop.
Jimenez is the
He should be like late 20s.
no, it should be the age mate of
No.
Muslera.
He's
How
Rashford's.
is he?
No, it should be the age mate of Muslera is a senior.
Muslera is senior. Crowd.
Muslera is the year's mate. Like
No,
2 years ahead of
Muslera
the
is
year.
older than.
They're like 2 years
Yeah.
ahead of the year, but like they're the same. Jimenez should be like 30, 29, 30.
I should think so.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He's
What's
like
the
Rashford's.
Oh no, you can't be Rashford now. Rashford be baby. Share.
Rashford is
Rashford
yeah.
is
32.
Jimenez is 32.
Jimenez not be small boy. Oh. Jimenez started
you
playing.
joke.
I'm telling
He,
you,
he
yeah.
was
That
always very
Uruguay
early.
defender.
Yes.
He got
Charlie, he's still a kid in my head.
No, Jimenez. I know he's 30 somewhere. He is. So yes, Jimenez is DS mates.
Yeah.
Like around that age, 32, 34. Around, yes.
Even for
Mike
this kid,
Batra.
he
Yes.
spent 9 years at Atletico.
Jimenez.
Angel Correa.
Yeah. Korea's ever present.
Korea.
Never
9 years. He
Never
came
complains.
there in
Doesn't
29
always start.
or
They always
2015.
find players who are better than him to start ahead of him.
But
That's
he-
his job. I mean,
I'm fan of Onsu.
he wouldn't
He's
complain.
happy.
He won't
You see,
complain.
It's about mentally.
Yeah.
Look, for
He's built a
those of
family.
us who watched Simeone during his play days,
Mm,
he wasn't the flamboyant sort of
yeah. Get
but he
ground.
was tactically very good. And he was that player who believed that there was nothing impossible for him to do.
Yeah.
Within he understood his talent and the restrictions within his talent.
Yeah.
And then he just took his strength and lived by that and made himself a special player.
Mm.
So everywhere he went or everywhere he played as a player, No coach could bench him.
Have you noticed
He will
that?
be the first name on that team sheet because he got a very
Actually,
strong mental.
his son,
noticed that a lot of
Biliano to the
It's
play.
the force.
Biliano to his son, Biliano Simeone is a very good footballer.
Yeah.
Have you noticed
Angel
that a
Correa,
lot of the great
9
coaches
years.
were all former midfielders?
It
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
like
A lot of the
that.
great coaches.
It
have-
looks like
I
that.
mean, the midfield.
At least in this generation, in this generation of
even
coaches.
before Ancelotti's age, like the
Ancelotti's
great 90s
group,
coaches,
right?
Yeah, a lot of them were central midfielders.
Yeah.
So
And if you bring
Carlo,
If you bring it to
Unless
even-
you're English, because Lampard and Gerrard
and schools.
Kopaka then so no think.
Challenge. But
especially the Dutch players.
Charlie, but the
right?
English midfielders,
No, them one. No think.
Bombo,
They
like
don't
not
know
even
coaching.
not even one.
If they know
You
coaching,
back,
a
what
German
about-
should not be coaching their team.
Yeah, no Black. He's been there since
Hey, I know Black has been there forever.
2014.
Yeah, so
10
Koke,
years.
Oblak, Jimenez,
10 years.
Yeah.
And Koke
Even
made his,
Griezmann came and went.
Griezmann,
Yeah.
the prodigal son,
Yeah.
returned well. And,
and Koke made his professional debut in the 2009-10 season.
2019. That's a season before Simeone came.
Ah,
yeah.
So he's been there for more than close to what, 15 years.
Yeah.
Koke in jail.
Koke, che,
Wow.
Yeah.
Koke has been there forever.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Charlie, but you the guy, you the guy, you the guy, you the
This is
guy,
15th season.
you the guy, Koke and this guy in the midfield,
Koke Saul and there's a last one.
Gabi,
Gabi.
Capito.
Gabi.
Hey,
That
Gabi, hey, Gabi, he get around.
That guy was
Let's-
fantastic.
That pick Atletico Madrid team was dangerous. I
And
swear.
Ada Turande.
And that Turan.
Then there was the one with locks.
Yeah,
Ada
Turan
Turan is
season.
also blossoming into a very, very fine coach. He's these days in charge of this team.
If he sorts his disciplinary issues
You
out,
go
he'll be
fight
okay.
right now.
Oh, but they play some really good football. I forgot the name of the
Go
team.
play by John
In Turkey?
Yeah, Ada Turan, they play some really good football.
But that Atletico Madrid team.
Atletico, they had this
They had Mandzukic
reputation
then,
of
so-
producing wonderful,
Strikers.
superb
Yeah.
You
strikers.
said
Yeah.
they had what?
In the
They
day.
still do.
They
Like
still have-
every year, they have a world class striker. They have Julian Alvarez now. This is in. He's world class. Top 10 strikers in the world. He will be there.
I mean,
Let's name them. Top 10.
Unamana is here. He'll be part.
You will be
but
part.
man, they've had some
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
from Torres,
Torres left.
Aguero.
came, left.
To Falcao.
Even before Torres, David Villa.
Falcao,
Diego
Falcao
Forlan.
left. No, yeah. Even
No, David Villa came after
Forlan.
from Barca.
yeah.
So,
So,
Valencia, Barca,
then Diego Costa.
Diego Costa.
Then what the name say?
wasn't Forlan there too?
Yeah.
No, Forlan was there
Forlan was
alongside
there.
Aguero.
So let's look at
Forlan
yes.
and Aguero
So
partnered.
the strikers they've had.
No, but Forlan wasn't Atletico star boy. Like Forlan
No,
was.
when there was
he
a season-
there,
there was a season where he started.
He was the star boy.
Forlan.
Yeah.
I wasn't-
He had a starring.
Yeah.
Wasn't
There
The
was a
Hilarious.
season
season.
they won the
No.
Europa.
There was a season he started at Atletico Madrid too.
The season they won the
When
Europa
yeah,
against
there was a
Fulham.
season he started.
That star boy.
When he won the Goal King
Yeah.
in La Liga, he
Yeah.
was playing for Villarreal.
Yeah, Villarreal.
Yeah.
But when he came to Atletico Madrid, there was a season where
The season
he
they
was the
beat
go-to-go
John
guy.
Penzel's Fulham to
That's
win
the one he
Europa.
was partner. Yeah.
They partnered Aguero.
He partnered Aguero.
Aguero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah.
season he started.
So wait, that was 2010.
Yeah,
Oh.
2010.
That was
That was
2010.
before. That was
The
right
one
before
that brought
Falcao
him to
came.
the
Right
World
before
Before
Falcao
Falcao
came.
came.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
The one that brought
That was the
tournament
that
he
World
came to the
Cup
World-
Jabulani form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for Falcao.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
No, but
Falcao
he
partnered Diego
look
Costa.
at
Diego
this.
Costa.
He spent 4 seasons at Atletico.
Forlan.
Forlan.
yeah.
His starring season was 08-09. He scored 27 goals in
It's good.
27 matches.
Ahead of the World Cup.
Yes,
That
I
I knew it was
yeah,
that stretch.
The season that brought him
Brought him to the World Cup 2008, 2009,
27
2009.
goals in 27 games
Yeah.
in La Liga.
There was a season where the Fallen be different animal.
27 in 27.
27,
He still didn't win Goal King.
2009.
Messi.
Because Messi was Messi's starring
And I
season.
think for all the great strikers Atletico had, that partnership sort of cancels out every other.
Oh, the best partnership is Falcao and Diego Costa.
Yeah, that was the
El
thing.
Tigre.
Jai.
Yeah.
Diego Costa was second striker. He was scoring like 15 goals.
Mm.
Che,
And he even went
That
on loan. He
partnership-
went on loan before he came
It
back.
be mad
Oh, but
partnership.
you know, I
but
actually don't
Raúl Garcia
remember.
and David Villa to pick.
4-4-2. 4-4-2.
Yeah, Raúl Garcia David Villa to pick.
So
David Villa they call Raúl Garcia the pimp. Like you cross the ball like they pimp. They-
See, Costa is nasty, but Raúl Garcia is as nasty as they come. He looks very unassuming until the action starts. Like when the match starts, you can tell Diego Costa will show you that I'm coming
Yeah,
to
so-
mess you up. But Raúl Garcia walks as if he's a saint.
Hey,
When he-
Simeone. What's a coach?
Yeah, he's coached some
So he
teams.
did some.
for me,
Yes,
I like
yes,
him.
he's coached some
Look,
teams.
his energy.
Black.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Wear black
But-
black.
So we know you go.
You know the season I
So when you
released.
go score Klopp they complain say you know they play.
You know they play.
He say make you play. Play we even go be score.
For me,
You know my favorite Simeone player? Felipe Luis.
Left
yeah.
back.
Mamma mia.
Left back.
I left back.
Solid guy.
One France,
Chelsea boss
Felipe
in
Luis,
Bro.
Miranda and
Godin. That was the league winning team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felipe Luis,
Yeah,
Juan
yeah,
Fran,
yeah.
Gabi,
then
Koke,
Gabi, Koke,
and
Sao.
Those guys, they really disappoint me.
Why? They won the league that year.
No,
The Godin
they
for it.
The Champions
disappointed
League
me
final.
when they were just 1 minute away to that.
Oh, that one
But that was a
That one
season.
is soon. Oh,
That was the season.
coach, that's Madrid, the year be let's go Madrid and disappoint too.
Hey, that season, Chelsea lost to Atletico. I wanted to cry, but I respected.
Bro, even
Mourinho
Bayern-
The thing that pained me was the fact that the one in goal was a Chelsea player.
Courtois.
Massa.
Remember, Chelsea went to UEFA and said that they must
Yeah.
implement the
Hey,
Premier
see,
League
that
rule.
first leg at this thing, what their
bridge.
own stadium, no, Atletico's own
Calderon.
stadium.
Calderon, Vicente Calderon.
Hey, we do that. That's the most boring game of football I've watched in my life.
Nobody they play the ball.
Nobody they won the ball. Nobody they won the ball.
Nobody they play the
Hey, that
ball.
game was boring. Hey, I don't even think there was a
Mourinho
shot
is
on
Simeone.
target in that game.
Yeah, Diego Costa
Yeah.
came and dealt the blow. It was bad, man. But yeah, Simeone, we stand. We apologize. Sorry,
I think
Sorry.
they're topping the thing, eh?
No, wait.
Alongside with Liverpool, the current
No.
champions.
They're not
Liverpool on their
they're
own.
even outside the top 8 too. They just started the
Liverpool
run.
on their own. Liverpool are 6 out of 6.
18 out of 18
Yeah.
points.
Brilliant.
That's crazy.
Slot to. Oh, I think me I told you this
Well,
a
we'll
long
meet
time.
you. We'll meet you in the knockout rounds.
Slot
When is
to.
the win? We are
Hey.
win is who?
You don't hear what Ancelotti talk. You, but you don't joke. Eh?
Is there what?
2 weeks ago or something where he say what he know, he say Real Madrid go do the
I
Champions.
mean, when it comes to Madrid, I don't argue about Real Madrid. You say, as you talk, you mention Kaluna.
But Charlie, your man, he pick oh, some goal he score.
Mbappe's.
You see, I've told you that.
Yes.
I've told you that. Mbappe's numbers,
Are not
Are
bad.
not
I think we want
Yeah,
to.
it's
It
the
is-
performances.
it is
we
the-
know who he is.
and it is the fact that in big games, he glaringly disappoints.
Goals missing.
So he's missing some big penalties, someone against Milan. The game against Barca pops up.
Yeah.
I missed the penalty against Liverpool, I should say. Against Milan, it was nowhere to be found. You know, against Barca, it's on top of
2
mind.
weeks ago, I think he missed another one.
He missed another penalty. So,
Or even,
so
even on Tuesday. Even on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. The
he had a one-on-one.
the 1v1 that you
Shot.
blasted.
Yes. So it is when you look at his numbers in isolation, and if not watch the football, you're like,
Why
Mbappe is
people
playing well. Why are you complaining? But it is when you've watched him play that you know that no, there's something short of what you're expecting. And I think that, you know, if the other players around him start picking up, Bellingham is now beginning to find his feet. Vinicius Jr. when he
Yeah.
plays, and I've told people when Vin is not playing, he's not playing. But when he plays, he's doing the most
playing.
important
That's the
things.
difference. No, when Bellingham is playing, but when Bellingham is existing, he's existing. What's that? See, Bellingham is a play ball.
Oh, Bellingham, they have him, my
If for changing
He's
it,
coming. He's coming.
if
to
for
form.
changing it,
No, you see, so that's my thing.
To what?
Like
Bellingham.
something.
Bellingham or Bellingus. so that is the thing. So,
Where FIFA do they shy? FIFA do they shy where the shot this is like Messi there body. He forgive Messi elbow make you come up
You
from
don't say that
distance.
conversation. We don't have him.
And they
so
saw.
we'll have it. Just time will come.
The time will come.
In time will
By
come.
the time his time comes, no, he
Then
has
chop.
taken the.
But
They
fine.
tell you.
But I mean, my
You forget say last year I tell you, bro. I tell you, say the guy is an imposter. He shouldn't
fine.
be here. We
My
need to
only
know
concern-
the team.
They said the
My
MLS
only-
player of the season where they fetch people.
Especially.
You know
My
they
only
top
concern
80.
for Real Madrid's performance in midweek was that it's beginning to look like they are rushing a number of their players back from injury.
Is it?
Yeah, Rodrigo, Vinicius clearly was not fit for this one. Rodrigo the same, and so you could tell that there was a limit to the sprints that they could take, how involved they could be in the game. I'm just hoping that this doesn't affect them because after January, after December, there's not going to be enough turnaround time for when you lose form, right? Because you do not have a player or two available. They just need to manage that very well. When they said Vinicius will be out for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he was back playing. Chouameni was supposed to return, I think, this week.
Even Mbappe and his massive injuries, he came back earlier. Now he's
Earlier.
He's gone
But
again.
it's not historic with Madrid that they always seem to lie about the seriousness of
The
the injuries.
duration.
But even if they are
I
lying-
think when you look at it for the last 2 or 3 seasons, anytime a player is supposed to return, a player is ahead of schedule. I think this season is consistent. And Vinicius Junior last season was supposed to be out for longer than he was. Mbappe this season was supposed to be
out
first
longer.
injury.
The first injury.
Rodrigo, even Militao as well. When he returned for he was supposed to be out for the whole season, including Courtois.
Yeah.
But they came back in time to make the Champions League final. I think historically, Madrid have always sent a certain message about the length of the injury that hasn't been consistent with the return of the players.
So,
It's either they are rushing them back or
you see, there is that.
It's
But
a strategy.
when the players return and they start playing, it is easy to suspect that they are rushing them back.
right. Now I've not paid attention to that, but I just
Fine.
know that most often than not,
There's
Madrid-
one point I want to make. I think maybe it
Go
will be
ahead.
the last point we talk about in the Champions League.
Yes.
We need to see, Joe have always emphasized on the work of Arne Slot. But I think in addition to that, we need to highlight, blow every trumpet that there is to be blown on Mohamed Salah.
Oh, yes.
Too much.
Look, I am so happy this guy is an African.
Yes.
He said they finally offered him the contract.
We
So,
shouldn't
but
sign
you
it.
don't have a choice.
he wants to stay.
Or you shouldn't say
You
anything.
take him away from that team, he's earned the right to get you to bend whichever rule there is. You have to bend it.
I agree.
You take him out, they don't look the same. You see, when you've got some players in your team, the presence alone gets everybody to believe that, look, all we need to do is to get it to him. When we are so much clueless, he has the clue. If you watch Liverpool in midweek, they were not overly brilliant,
No.
but you could tell that with that young man in the team,
Something will happen.
something would definitely.
He's a magician.
And for me, he's taking good care of himself
Too well.
too very well. And when anytime he takes off his shirt,
He knows what he's doing.
I said,
Yeah,
"Come
the more recent one he did was a message.
It was a message.
He was sending a message.
I'm
Okay,
fit.
you don't want to give me the contract because you think I'm 30 years,
I'm fit.
but check my body out. When he scored that
That's
goal,
right.
and he looked in shape. He was in
Ripped.
real shape. And I've never seen a player who can go quiet in a game and all of a sudden flip. Like it doesn't happen. Like Mohamed Salah can be so quiet in the game, and in a split second he's deciding it. There are several players who have to be involved in the game to warm themselves up to be in sync.
exactly.
But Salah can go silent in a game. Like the whole game, they touch the ball plenty.
But
But the ball sets not.
You see, he's silent, but his focus is
Yeah,
always-
always reading things.
Every
me,
time
look-
Salah has the ball, like every time they play a game, if you support the team in the opposition or whatever, every time Salah has the ball, then no, you have to
Bro,
show
one of his most
I'm telling
underrated
you.
abilities, his vision.
Yes.
Bro, the guy sees.
Every time Salah has the
the
ball,
guy
I'm
sees
afraid.
spaces nobody sees. Mohamed Salah, when he's passing the ball, it's like
You
he's
see the
over.
day I believe
Charlie,
he came to Stamford Bridge and Salah catch on ball, shifted the ball onto his left from nowhere. Nobody was anticipating a shot.
yeah, blasted
Fine.
against Kepa.
Kepa.
Ha!
Yeah.
That was not at the bridge, that was at Anfield.
Charlie,
It was Anfield. Yeah. Wham, bam!
against Newcastle.
You are not stopping that.
The guy manipulated the ball some way.
B.
The ball hit the bar.
Hey, that's
As
with
Kepa
his right
tested
foot.
it, that thing wasn't a chance.
Tell it wasn't a
Kepa
chance,
take
bro.
no chance.
Hey, tell it, the guy do
If you do something on fire, the thing will hit back. I don't see Sevo. If you replay where I see, I
I
don't
just
see
say
Sevo.
no. I just say go. I think I say he played the ball go over because the angle was so acute. But then when the ball did the field, I said, "Hey, he hit the ball." He's a good
Big
player.
move.
Players like that,
Salah
when
is some player.
when the game ends, don't bother checking their XG.
No.
And then there's Darwin Nunez.
So I think so far.
So, come on.
Interestingly, I actually like Darwin.
But then
Because he
let's
doesn't play for your team.
He's
Let's
a
talk about-
playmaker's nightmare.
fine,
that
a little
guy.
bit on Arsenal.
Please.
I think they have more or less guaranteed top 8
Yeah.
together with Liverpool.
They are done.
So there is Liverpool, there's Arsenal in the top 8.
It's Aston Villa.
There's Villa, and then surprisingly,
There's
the
what?
champions,
And there's Man City.
the champions are struggling to earn an automatic qualifying zone. But I think on the whole, it is very likely that all the 4 English teams may find themselves in the
progress.
next round. And when you go to Spain, Barcelona obviously is there. You have Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, definitely will be part of that. Who's the 4th?
The top 8 are
Atletico,
Liverpool, Barcelona,
Girona.
Arsenal,
The Girona.
Bayer Leverkusen, Aston Villa, Inter Milan, Brest and Lille, 2 French teams.
Yeah,
Wow.
Brest and
And
Lille have
then
been great.
3 English teams.
Yes.
And then there's a
1
Spanish,
German team,
1 Spanish team.
Farmers League
1
is
Spanish team.
So look, like I said, but my last point, have you really enjoyed the Champions League this way so
No.
far?
No.
Remember the
group
point
format-
I made as a no.
we discussed this. The group format is
Let's,
not.
let's wait and maybe
Maybe.
the true desire and appetite will come
knockout
when they
round.
get to
No,
the
as for
knockout
knockout stage, you know how it is like because that is what we were used to.
Exactly.
But the league
this
format-
one,
As for me, I'll be honest. The league format hasn't caught. It hasn't
No,
lit
no,
up
no.
what they thought they were going to sell
There's
to us.
too much comfort.
It is, and
Too
it is,
much
it is. You see, and for an average football fan, the beauty of the Champions League old format was that you can focus on your team and still pay attention to other groups,
Yeah.
right? But this time it's too clumsy. Like
they're all in the
too many
same
things
pool.
happen at the
many things
same
happen.
time.
Ah,
You have to keep an eye on the league table. You have to
Yeah,
keep an
man.
eye on fixed.
Fixture.
Like it is,
You
it
don't
is-
even
it's
know
just not it.
who your team will be playing next.
And all of a sudden,
because
the feeling,
they are not playing each other.
yes,
No,
and the feeling is like what you
Nobody plays each other twice.
twice, and the feeling is almost like what you have every Saturday or Sunday in your league.
in your league.
And the Champions League was a breakaway. It's a different
Exactly.
feeling. Like
yeah.
no league things, no points things. It's just group. I just want to go through the group,
Look,
finish third and go to
I
Europe or
think they
something.
will
But
have to look at it again.